Welcome to Madison Square Garden, or should we say good morning? It is truly the Field of 68 after dark. Thanks for joining us. If you're awake right now on the East Coast, you are truly one of us, college hoop heads. I'm John Fanta. He's Jeff Goodman. He is the former Tar Heel great John Henson, and Bobby D. Rob Dauster is here. Well, we watched a fun doubleheader tonight, gentlemen. Illinois coming back from double digits down to beat Texas in overtime, but we just wrapped up Duke beating Iowa. Final score 74-62. Let's begin right here with the Tar Heel breaking down the Blue Devils. John Henson, what did Duke show you tonight?
You know what? Duke was solid. Iowa.
That's all you can give them?
They were solid. Iowa did not look that good. Let's just be honest. They were solid. But, I think some of the young guys.
You are a Tar Heel.
It's the nicest thing
Whiteheaded
people ever say about them. You weren't going to say they were great.
They were solid. I don't think I'll ever say they're great.
Oh.
But maybe. But, they were good. Roach looked good. The young guys are working back in. I like how Scheyer's trying to bring them along slowly. And Duke's looking like a team that, if they can get it together, they can make some noise at the end.
Yeah, I think the big thing is the young guys are coming, which in turn means the veterans don't have to play as much. You don't have to count on Jacob Grandison and Ryan Young as much as you did when I saw them in Portland or Champions Classic. Mark Mitchell was terrific on both ends tonight, right? He kind of played bully ball on offense because he could, and defensively he was terrific in being the primary defender on Chris Murray.
Yeah. I love the way that their backcourt's kind of shaping out. Tyrese Proctor and Jeremy Roach together. I'm a little surprised at how much Jeremy Roach is actually playing off the ball. There's a lot of times they just give the ball to Tyrese and kind of let him go, put him in ball screen, say, go make a decision. And it works. If you look at the teams that have won titles recently, we talk about this all the time, right?
Yes.
Multiple playmakers, multiple shooters, guys that can space the floor, and Duke's got that. And
Roach just said, we were just down there, Fan and I, and Roach said, it kind of saves his legs a little bit too.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I'll tell you what, you've seen Duke now 5 times.
Yeah.
How much have you?
Duke damn beat writer.
5 times.
I love the Dukies.
I hear you, man.
I've seen Carolina 3 times too. I wish I hadn't.
Listen, man, I'll tell you what, we're cringeworthy right now, but don't count us out.
Right.
Count us out.
Right. Coming up, John Henson will provide his ACC power ranking. We cannot.
It's okay. BC lost tonight to UNH.
Yeah.
You can't put him 15.
Yeah, I can't put him 15. We'll go bottom tier. How about
That's
that?
right.
We'll keep it bottom.
At least you're not Louisville, man. You could be Louisville.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
Louisville just needs to get a win, or they need to lose by less than.
Them coming up.
They need to lose by less than 15.
They got FAMU.
Seriously.
FAMU.
Isn't that big bench over there, Nolan?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't
How
feel
bad?
that. I don't feel
Feel
that.
bad?
I don't feel that bad.
Look at this.
Should have stayed home.
Nice. So, Jeff, you've seen Duke 5 times. How have you seen them grow from game 1 to now?
Again, I don't think there's as much pressure now. Although Roach played so well tonight, there's not as much pressure on him. To me, again, Whitehead's coming like soon. He's not all of a sudden going to emerge and get 25. But if Tariq Whitehead can give you, 15 soon. I think this is going to be more of a balanced team than we ever thought, right? Filipowski's been really good. He's the one who came out of the gate strong. But let's face it, he's probably going to hit a wall at some point this year. Look at his body. He probably is.
Yeah.
Do you think he's put a cog in kind of their plans to have Lively kind of come in and be the guy? They look a lot better with him at the 5.
Yes, they do.
They do.
They didn't think he was going to be this good too.
Yeah.
They're like when he was in practice before the season started, like the reports coming out of there were
Yes.
I don't know how he's going to fit. I don't know if this is going to work with Filipowski out there.
Well,
now he's the guy. Like,
again,
he can't play Lively at this point.
He looks good,
right? There's times when he can't play Lively.
Listen, the one thing is Filipowski. Defensively, you worry about him at the 4. Right. That's where you worry about him, right? Because offensively, you've seen it. He can space it.
Yeah, he's good.
So, you could have him and Lively be a lob catching, rim running 5. That's fine. It's more on the defensive end. If you want to be an elite defensive team, like they showed, maybe not elite tonight, but man, they were pretty good.
Here's the deal, folks. Iowa entered the game as the 3rd ranked Ken Palm adjusted offensive efficiency team. By metrics, by what they've shown, and by Chris Murray. Chris Murray tonight did not have it. He was shut down. And What did Jon Scheyer say just now in the press conference? Defense is who we have to be.
He said that all preseason too, and I was like, let's see. I don't know if I believe you on that with a young team, right? Like, how much you going to rely on freshmen to be great defenders? But you know what? Mark Mitchell is a really, really good defender coming out of the gates.
And Whitehead is too, but we haven't even seen their ceiling yet. We were talking about it, John, down there. Like, Lively is not the guy that we thought he was going to be yet. I think he can get there, but he's not there yet.
Missing piece, the length around the rim. If they can unlock his potential, that team is going, like we were talking about. They didn't look Texas, Illinois. They didn't look much better than Duke tonight. So like it would be an interesting game if we would have flipped Duke on one of those teams. It would have been fun to watch.
Is Duke at their best the best team in the Atlantic Coast Conference?
No, I think. Well, I don't want to say
exists.
Yeah, I don't know if there is one.
But at their best, on Duke's best night.
At their upside, it probably is true. If everybody reaches their upside, yes.
There's a lot of ifs.
But that's freshmen, and we don't know what Lively's going to be. We don't know what Whitehead. Is Whitehead going to be an 8 to 10 point a game guy, or is he going to be a 15 every night and a guy you give the ball to? Because I don't want to give the ball. I like Roach, but I don't want Roach to be my guy in if they go to the Elite Eight with game on the line. I don't want Jeremy Roach being that guy. I want to see if it's White. Actually, I'm not sure they're going to have a guy. I feel like, honestly, the beauty of them might be just moving the ball and finding the open guy.
Whitehead kind of, I liked Whitehead tonight because he kind of did what he wanted out there. I think he was the only player that got to where he wanted to get, shot the shots he wanted to get. And so if there is going to be a guy down the stretch, he may be the guy, but will Scheyer trust him? Because he had a couple passes. When he gets in traffic, he kind of, his decision-making is questionable.
Could it be a different guy every night?
Right.
I mean, could it ultimately be a different guy every night?
That's the idea. And the thing about Whitehead too is you got to remember he didn't really practice much in the fall. So he's still kind of figuring it out a little bit.
And that matters. I think my biggest, when I was young, being able to practice and play every day and I was not injured helped me move along fast. And I think with Lively being hurt, he missed that preseason, that exhibition game. He missed that scrimmage getting his tail tore up. Yeah. And like he's doing that right now. So
he and Lively are similar in a lot of ways. Watching John Young, and I covered John when he was young. They're similar in a lot of ways. Again, more defensive minded guys that can run the court, block shots, all that. We have not seen that out of Derek Lively yet.
So that's why you were out there like, oh, look, listen, we should shoot it.
Listen,
Lively's got to shoot it better.
By the way,
fortunately for me, UNC, Roy Williams loves his big guys.
He does.
That was in a great situation.
No matter what,
listen, if you started in Carolina, you had to really suck not to be successful, right?
When he was covering you, what did he look like?
I was younger. I didn't have gray hair.
He's younger. He's more energetic. Hey, he probably was, going for. He's probably going to Chapel Hill bars after. You know what I'm saying?
I still do that.
Yeah,
he still does. I haven't slowed down.
The high school Goodman was the one. I mean,
I knew everybody. I did.
The high school Goodman.
Hey, listen,
I probably hounded Henson and called him and like
he was everywhere.
Break.
Everyone is anywhere.
How mad was he every time that he didn't get a scoop from you?
He got the scoop from me. That's my guy.
I guarantee I broke when he went to Carolina. I would bet my house says I broke that story.
Right.
I don't remember it. I remember Scheyer when I broke Scheyer's story.
Really?
Yeah, Duke guy.
You were always the guy, man. Just always around, always in the mix. Always, hey, everybody knew you. Good relationships.
Yeah, I don't know these kids anymore. I'm too damn old, man.
I have a question for you guys because I think that if you look at teams across the country right now, I think you can make the argument Duke has the most room to grow.
Sure. Well, they have the most freshmen.
Yeah, the most room to grow for teams that have a chance to be elite, right? Like I think we're kind of seeing Arkansas is probably the only team that has a comparable level of like potential pros and star freshmen, right? But we kind of see what they are. Like Anthony Black is there already. More or less, right? Nick Smith, he wasn't his best tonight, and Brazil, like he's dealing with the injury. And
we're watching one play. What did you say after the one play of Nick Smith?
I saw one play him going down the fast break. I saw that's a pro. Even at the end of the game, I was watching when we were down there. Nick Smith kind of wheeled them. He took over at the end and kind of put him on his back. So they're going to be good.
Here's my question to you: being a player and having that experience that you've had.
Yeah.
How much are you seeing Duke's freshmen benefiting from having a guy like Roach, from having a guy like Ryan Young and company?
Honestly, Duke scares me in a sense of just if I'm a Carolina guy, because if they start racking up wins and confidence and those guys get healthy and the young guys they're going to be a team to be reckoned with. And so I think the trajectory is upward for them. Even their coach, he's figuring things out too.
Right.
And
that's a great point.
So
that's actually a great point. And Vanna kind of asked me that earlier, is like, Scheyer, how impressed are you of what he's done so far? And it is impressive, because in Portland, it could have gone really south for a while. They look, again, Purdue and the first game
smoked by Purdue.
Yeah, in the first game they weren't very good. They were tested right out of the gate. And the one thing with Scheyer, I give him credit for, he's pretty even keel.
Yeah.
Right. He's pretty even keel, which I think a young team needs.
Yeah, he runs a lot. You were talking about this. He runs a lot of NBA stuff too.
I love the offensive run. I really do. I was literally watching the plays being called thumb up 5, 77s. They were calling the stack screen play that a lot of NBA teams run. And
explain how those are the calls that the NBA teams.
Yeah, so the calls that Duke are calling are very common NBA terms, and so that's also kind of cool because it prepares those guys for the next level. So when they come into training camp and you hear 77, you know it's a double screen for the point guard, or certain things like that. So I love that part of their offense, and I think Duke is getting guys ready, and I think that's why they get those kind of.
Can I ask you a question?
Talk to me.
Be honest here.
I got you.
When you watch Duke play, would you notice the fact that they have a different leader on the sidelines?
Yes. Coach K his presence he has a presence. I think when Coach K got up and got angry, the people responded.
There you go.
And so
that's what
I don't know if I've seen Scheyer do that yet, and he will want to, but when Coach K got up and
you got to earn it.
Players were like, get together.
Not just that, the officials. Those are the guys that realize.
I'm not sure. Tonight, again, this officiating crew probably wouldn't have been, as kind of
intimidated. Just say it.
Yeah.
Intimidated.
You got Roger Ayers, you got John Higgins. Those dudes aren't going to be intimidated by Coach K or anybody for the most part, but most officials are, especially when you put them in camera or generally here. This is obviously a place that Sheyer's never coached before. You put him at the Garden. He's played here. He said it. He's
24 times.
24 times between
player
or assistant coach. He's been at the Garden. So that makes it a little bit easier.
And they come up here every year.
Wait a minute. I thought it was UConn's second home.
UConn. This is UConn's building.
Twice a year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is UConn's building. Up close to 15 to 20.
Yeah.
You know that, right? Though, right? This is UConn's home arena.
Yeah, okay.
It's their third gym.
For real.
Now, what field was there? A field to that? Where did UConn come from, Ed?
I'm ready.
I'm
ready to kick him out of here.
You brought him up. Set me up for failure.
Now, I want to get back to you because you asked the question, which indicates to me you have an answer. So, do the Duke Blue Devils have the most upside of any team in the country?
I think that they do, right? If we see Lively end up being the shot blocking 3-point threat that he was when he was in high school, if we see Dariq Whitehead get to the point where he was the #1 prospect in the class, if we see Tyrese Proctor shoot it the way that everybody that saw them practice in the fall, if he shoots it like that, all of a sudden you got a guy, and Jeremy Roach is a veteran point guard. You got a guy who can shoot the shit out of it, who can operate ball screens in Tyrese Proctor. You have a rim protector that allows all of these athletes to get out and pressure on the perimeter.
It's Whitehead though. For me, it comes down to Dariq Whitehead if they're gonna have a chance to win this whole thing. If he can be a dude, then I think you got
that's the one question I have, right?
Yeah.
Is there one guy that you can give it to and just say, go get us one?
Right.
That can go get you.
Because Roach isn't that guy.
No,
I think they think he is.
I think Proctor can be.
Well, again, the one thing with Proctor that impressed me over the last even week or so is how much more Jon Scheyer is willing to give him the ball and say, you know what, maybe this is our best team offensively because he's a better passer.
And he's a better decision maker too. And he's more of a threat when he comes off those screens.
He played high-level international games.
Yeah, he's good.
That's the difference, right? He didn't come in
but here's the
as
thing.
a high school
But here's
kid.
the thing. When you have him and Roach out there, you can't just put your best defender. You put your best defender on Proctor, then you can just put Roach in the ball screens. Let him go and rock.
Well, and that's just it. it doesn't have to be Roach scoring the ball. He can also make things happen for others, John.
He can, and Roach is he's the head of the snake. They're going to go as he goes, and tonight he was solid. He started off strong. He kind of plays with a little air of confidence and swag that I kind of liked. You know, when he shot the three, kind of just.
I think he's a Maryland kid, isn't
he?
Yeah,
you know, everybody relax.
He's got some shit to him.
Yeah, everybody relax. Look, that's why don't act surprised. And so I think the Duke fed off that, and the young guys can feed off that. And like I said, if they get those two guys, Proctor and him going, I mean.
They got a lot of pieces.
Kentucky's the same. You know, I would say Kentucky's one of the teams that could, you know.
I think both of them are gonna. Again, Kentucky's just got to get their shooters going.
Yeah. I
have a great question. I'm sitting.
Kentucky than you guys.
I am sitting now on a question.
Go ahead. What do you got? Duke or Kentucky?
No. No.
Oh,
YouTube chat. Dagan Hughes, fire this up.
All right. What do we got?
I tell you tomorrow that you can have one man lead your program for the next 5 years. John Calipari or Jon Scheyer.
This is like this is all encompassing, or this is like coaching.
We're not going to put Hubert Davis in this discussion too.
What?
I'm just saying.
I'm going to pull a.
I'm
going to pull a Hurley and say, "All right, I'm hanging up." I'm pull a Hurley and say, yeah, that was good. That was good. All right, I'm hanging up now.
No, let's not put him in that spot. In Cal or Scheyer.
I think I would take Scheyer.
Wow,
is that crazy? Because I think that Scheyer will be able to get the talent. Like, isn't Scheyer got all those?
Isn't Scheyer at Duke? He's gotten dudes.
He's gotten guys,
but he's still got him with the help of K. K wasn't out the door,
and it's also Duke he's recruiting to. So like, we don't know if he can recruit to places other than Duke. But at the same time,
he'll never have to prove that.
Cal is recruiting.
He'll never have to prove that.
Like they're both. I think they're both comparable as recruiters.
That's a tough one.
And I would say that
we don't ask easy questions.
I'd say Sheyer's a better X's and O's coach.
Already,
you look at the stuff that Cal runs. You don't need me to go there.
Whoa,
it's not. I've been hard on Cal this year.
I know you.
I've been hard on Cal for like 4 years. Man, he doesn't run anything new. He's running. I swear to God, John, if you go and you watch the game that you played in Rupp, right, and you go and look at the sets that they were running, it's the same exact like 4 plays.
But don't you want to see the tweak?
Hey, listen.
Every year, the tweak.
Cal runs.
Remember, they lose. If they lose a few in a row, we're gonna do the tweak.
The tweak.
Cal runs.
It never says what the hell the tweak is.
But
we're doing the tweak. And then when he wins a few, it was because of the tweak. There was no tweak.
Cal runs a very simple offense. Get NBA All-Stars, max contract guys, and let them play. You know what I mean? And when he does have that type of talent, there you go, 31-0.
I think the other thing is, listen, John Calipari right now is a little bit motivated from the last couple of years, right? Jon Scheyer is young. He's motivated, period, right now. It's a new job for him. He's not going to let up. This is his dream job. He was fighting to get DePaul a year and a half ago, right? Whatever it was. It was before Stubbs got hired. And now he's got his dream job. He's not going to let it slip away. And he knows how to work. There's a difference between a 34-year-old and a 60-year-old.
Do you think Scheyer would ever leave Duke to go to the professional ranks?
Sure, of course.
Sure, okay.
Hell yeah. I mean,
he's not gonna stay there until he's 70 and just ride out of something.
No, not Scheyer. No.
That is a great question by you.
It's a great. I mean, what other guy?
You know why?
None. That's the only where he goes. Right. That's it.
Yeah, but like even professionally. Like,
I love that question because talking with people. Talking with people around,
killing it. What here?
Hey,
we're firing Joe Mazzulla.
We're talking
20-5.
We're talking futures. We're talking futures.
All right.
It's funny that you say that.
And Joe Mazzulla.
Okay.
Because talking with him over the summer for a story, he and people in his circle brought up the fact that he had just a fire inside him to get to the NBA level because he loves the NBA. He has an appreciation for the NBA. He's a guy that actually could fit the mold of making that jump way down the road. 100%. It's a big, but we got another game to get to.
Yeah, again, his personality fits, right? Like you look at some of these guys, they're all about themselves in college. Their personalities, their egos. I've always said Tom Izzo, I know he's had opportunities to coach in the NBA. I don't know if he could really deal with it. I just don't.
Why do you need that, John? Why do you need that kind of Brad Stevens persona? That kind of Phil Jackson.
Our coach has been.
You're paying. I had Scott Skiles.
Yeah. Okay. Skiles is a good one.
Great X's and O's. Great coaching.
But an MFer, right?
But the other side of the NBA was not good at personalities and managing egos.
Right.
I loved him as a rookie because when he would be pissed off at the vets, he said, "Rook, get in there." I played 40 minutes. So it was awesome. And then I had Larry Drew, had Jay Kidd, and I had Budenholzer. And they were all very different, but I will say this: I was lucky. They were all high level X and O's basketball guys. So that was something I was kind of.
But you think that the college coach generally, the Izzos, the Bill Selfs. So
Coach Williams, I asked him one day when I was in school. I said, "Coach, because every year the Lakers job they offered him." Yeah. And he said, "I knew I couldn't do the NBA when I coached the Olympic team, and it was AI and Mike and all those guys." He said, "When I saw that and I saw how those guys were, it was young LeBron." Right. It was a young 18-year-old. He was like, "Yeah,
can't do that.
It's not for me."
So why do you think K could do it?
I mean, K
needed it.
K is a little more nuance, right? He's a little new. He understands.
Well, in the Roy Southern, I'm not sure that works with the NBA guys. That's Southern, it works with you kids.
Well, it's easy to get the USA guy. You got the USA guys. They got the best players in the universe,
right?
And you say, "Look, you guys, if we don't win, it looks bad on everybody." That's the only way he could have done that.
Yeah.
Do you still think, Jeff Goodman, that Iowa is the best team in the Big Ten, like you boldly
but I
and
will
loudly proclaimed in Indianapolis?
No, because you want to see these teams in person, right? Mm-hmm. When you see them in person, it gives you a different look.
100%.
And I would say, no, I don't think Iowa's the best team.
So you're the only.
You know why?
You didn't know that Iowa wasn't the best team in the Big Ten until you saw them in person. Is that what you're telling me?
I needed to see them in person.
Was that what it was?
No, here's my problem with Iowa is again, they don't have any rim protection. They don't
guard. Period.
Actually, I think Perkins has been fine. I don't think that's the issue with
that's
Iowa.
One.
I don't.
On court.
No, I don't think they have the length.
No.
I don't think they have the defensive toughness still. And I think that's been a problem. And they didn't shoot it tonight.
I mean, we're used to
they shot the ball.
We're used to seeing rain.
Right. And they can. This was a horrible shooting night.
It went 3 for 16 from 3.
To your point, John, I think a lot of that has to do with the length and athleticism, defensive ability of Duke.
Yeah, sure.
That's why. Not to get back off of Iowa, but that's why I'm saying when they get lively black and all of a sudden they have a rim protector, they have the length and athleticism,
and they don't need 30 minutes out of Derek Lively now.
Right?
No, they don't.
I mean, honestly,
they don't need 25.
Right. They could 15 minutes.
Yeah, 20 minutes. Yeah.
And you know what? If he's playing well, you can play him 25.
Right.
If he's not, you can play him 10.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the beauty of what Jon Scheyer has right now.
Yep.
Right? He can sit guys on their ass if they're not playing well. If they're not coming out to play, playing hard, defending, then you sit. You sit. I'll play Ryan Young. I'll play Grandison. Those guys.
Old school. I love it.
Right.
Let's transition to game 1
Enough Duke.
of the Jimmy.
Enough Duke.
That was a lot of Duke for you.
Enough Duke. Yeah. Let's transition to game 1 of the Jimmy V Classic here from the world's most famous arena. And game 1 was a doozy. It was looking like Texas was going to pull away. They led Illinois by 10. Brett Underwood said himself post-game, gentlemen, I don't know where it's coming from. I don't exactly know who this team is, but that's kind of the beauty of it. And when it was said and done, the Illini win 85-78. Terrence Shannon rises from the dead at the Garden and steps up in overtime with 12 points. What's your reaction to the Illini winning this game?
I loved in the post-game press conference when Brad Underwood said, "We've been waiting for Matthew Meyer to show up." He goes, "I said, welcome to the orange and blue tonight after the game." No, but they're so versatile, right? I just love the different lineups that they can run out there. I love
so does Brad, by the way,
how you can play. You can play Coleman Hawkins out there at the 5, and you have a 5-man that can guard point guards, and a 5-man that can basically run your offense for you, right? He can pass the ball well enough. He can do those different things. When Matthew Meyer, I think it's such a luxury that you can have Terrence Shannon, the guy that we saw go for 30 and hit 8 for 9 from 3 earlier this season, have a horrible night. He wasn't just missing shots; he was taking terrible shots. He wasn't locked in defensively. He didn't play very well. And it doesn't matter. Number 2 team in the country, you take them to overtime because, oh, by the way, Matthew Meyer is there.
Well, against Virginia, you remember they couldn't do that. Shannon had a terrible night. Right. The night after he went bananas against UCLA, he had a horrible night against Virginia. Nobody else stepped up. They end up losing that one. Tonight, there were enough other guys that stepped up.
I think there's more of an indictment on Texas. They had the game control down the stretch. The crowd was quiet. They were up 10. It was kind of looking like they were going to kind of finish it out, and they let them get going. And in the first half, Meyer kind of buoyed them because it was looking like that in the first half.
Yeah,
kept them
kept
close.
within
And
distance.
so, yeah, I like what they did tonight, but I think Texas also kind of blew it, man. I mean, they were up 5 with what, 3 or 4 points. They were up 5 with 45, 50 seconds, a minute left.
They were up by 5 with a minute to go in the
2
game.
threes go in. One was called a timeout. So they take it off. The other one, like, I mean, things went wrong for them.
And Tyrese Hunter, he cramped up, so he was on the bench for 2 minutes. Then when he came back in, I asked Beard about this after, and I said, obviously he wasn't himself. He said, no. I mean, they stuck him in the corner. He didn't come to get the ball. They didn't call anything for him. He was literally a decoy on the left wing the whole time. And then, and I hate to say this, but it's true, Minnesota Marcus showed up. And Minnesota Marcus means Marcus Carr tried to do it himself. It's true.
What other options did they have at that point?
Well,
Because they weren't.
Timmy Allen had gotten you there. He had gotten you there.
Yeah, but
you got to
he's
run
also,
something for him.
But he's limited in what I don't think that you can just run a set for him because he's not a threat outside of 15 feet, if that.
No, but
he's kind of like he puts his head down, goes to his right hand.
I'm actually going to go back on what you said, though. The only thing I have with you, and I agree with you to a degree, but Allen did have the big night for them and was consistent. The other thing, though, is, John, what you said. Marcus Carr did hit an elbow jumper. It was a 5-point game with a minute left. You're a good defensive team. Should you win the game?
Should win the game. I mean, it was, and I also, now that I've got to see them in person, as you said, we talk so much about Texas being good defensively, a good team. There's a lot of guys on that team that need the ball, need plays. Even with Dylan Mitchell, their big guy, Allen doesn't need someone to look for him, but his game is predicated off other players, guards. So tonight, I kind of saw a glaring weakness. Like, hey, look, if you just shut down, you let Marcus just.
But Tyrese wasn't himself. Again, Tyrese was great early, then didn't play well, and then obviously game time.
It's not the first time he's dealt with that either.
I know.
He had cramp earlier. Was it Gonzaga?
Yeah, I think so.
10 points in the first half. He did not score.
I got an electrolyte plan for him.
I buy that.
It's the guard. We're not even down south. It's not Florida. It's good AC. It was cold up there.
Right.
Yeah.
So is this the best Illinois team that Brad Underwood has had?
It's different. I think it's the most equipped to be able to win in the tournament. I would say that. I don't know if it's the best.
The Kofi team.
Well, if
Kofi can't guard,
you're right.
Couldn't guard anybody. That was the problem, right? Is you went up, and it's the same thing with a lot of these plotting big guys.
I was shocked.
Jeff, if it's the most,
shocked he didn't get drafted because he was a force.
He's in China or Japan, I think, right now.
If
Should have come back and made NIL.
China's good.
It would have made about $1.5 million NIL right now. I don't know what he's.
But if you're the most equipped to win in March, then doesn't that make you the best?
Of course.
You got to show us, though. You got to show us.
Right. We don't know yet, but
I still kind of.
You're not bought it. You're not completely bought it.
I'm not completely bought it, and I'm not willing to completely write off what Illinois was the last 2 seasons either. Like they had Ayo DeSumo and Kofi Coburn. Yeah. They had a year where Kofi Coburn averaged 22 and 10. Like we're not just going to pretend that he was terrible because they ran into a Houston team that happened to be number 2 on KenPom. They beat them. Like, come on, like we're not. I'm not going to sit here and say that Illinois team was bad because they lost in the Sweet 16. That's
no, but what they are is they're versatile now. What they are is switchable now. What they are is a bunch of different dudes who can make plays off the bounce now.
Yeah,
like they were small. They were small in the backcourt last year. Really, really small.
Epps came out the blue too. I mean,
he was huge.
I mean, if they don't have, if he doesn't assert himself towards it,
we're talking about Texas right now.
Yeah. Oh, well,
that's what we are. No, I'm saying if Epps doesn't do that, we're talking about Texas right now.
Right.
One of the plays of the game, Shannon was actually on the bench when Illinois was making a comeback in this game, and it was a 6-point affair. Epps does a great job of initiating the offense, and he finds RJ Melendez for an open 3, triple, all 3 of these, and that really catapults them. They actually, under Epps, they ran their offense probably as well as they did the whole night.
Shocking, because I remember seeing him in the preseason, and you know what I said? I'm like, I don't think he's like an undersized 2. That's what I felt like, and he still is a scorer. More than a facilitator.
But you don't need him to be a facilitator because Hawkins is such a good passer.
And Shannon, and that's what Underwood said to me in the preseason because I said to him, I was like, listen, I just don't know. Your point guard play, Sky doesn't look great. Epps isn't a point guard. And he said, like, That's not how we're going to play this year.
Epps plus 11 off the bench in 31 minutes, second highest plus minus.
And
we saw that. That's what we saw.
He had listen, you're in the Garden.
Right.
You make that three.
Yep.
You're like a fringe top 100 player.
Right.
And you make those 2 free throws to force overtime. You got big cojones.
Yep.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
Like that's what I
the thing that makes them dangerous.
Because Texas is what? What do we always equate Chris Beard teams with? Toughness. Right? Toughness. Yes. And Illinois didn't go away. A bunch of new dudes, that completely new team. I mean, who's back? Coleman Hawkins and who else? Melendez and Luke Goody will be back.
Yeah, I mean, they basically lost all of their
almost everybody. And I think that's what Brad Underwood has been so happy about when we talked to him after the game about like, okay, I know I get some tough dudes. We recruited them from winning programs, and hopefully we can, we can figure out ways. We've got all these different players. I still don't know my team, but I feel pretty good about it.
And we caught up with Brad Underwood after the Fighting Illini took it in comeback fashion over Texas.
All right, Brad, down 10 with 8 minutes left. You kind of fight this thing back, get in overtime, and then TJ Shannon just steps up. What's it like to be able to get this one after the Maryland loss?
Yeah, it's a bounce back. There's no doubt. And, we felt like that we had a good week of practice, a good week of preparation. We needed number 2 in the country. It's probably the premier backcourt, maybe in the country. I'm proud of our guys. I didn't know where it was coming from. It was ugly, the 16-2 run. That's a Chris Beard team. They're tough. They're going to fight you. They're going to play for 40. And yet, as we've done in so many of our games this year, there's been a never quit. I don't always know where it's coming from. Tonight it was Jay Metz, Sincere Harris, Matthew showed up.
Yeah, finally we saw Matthew Myers' site.
We did, and that's the Matthew that's elected. And you just don't go beat a Chris Beard team without having to fight for it, and that's the impressive thing to me tonight is all those factors.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably the most impressive thing about this group because you didn't know this coming in, right? You had a bunch of freshmen, a bunch of transfers. You didn't know how they were going to gel together and what their level of toughness was going to be. How impressive has it been?
I'm really impressed with our 5 freshmen. You have an idea with your veterans. What they've been through some battles. They've been through some wars. They played in the Garden. They played in big events. And yet you never know with freshmen. Now, I will say this. They've all won. They all won state championships, so they know that feeling. But until you deal with adversity, Jay Metz took a great shot at the end of the Maryland game, but he's out of rhythm, in foul trouble, didn't get back. And tonight it's right back to him. And that kid just steps up. Sky Clark has been a huge year for us. Ty Rogers, and then Sincere tonight was electric. So they don't fear this, and that's the impressive thing.
By the way, you need to see video later of the look on your face on, I think it was a goaltending call, when you ran back down the bench and sat down.
4-2, 4-3 type speed.
So cool.
Yeah,
so cool.
I'm sure it was dazzling.
I remember a couple of years ago you couldn't move.
Yeah, the artificial knee has resurrected my career. What I didn't tell everybody is it's bionic. It's hard-fought emotionally. Yeah, you're going to have a few of those moments, and I coach with passion, and I coach with...
Listen, I'm just upset you didn't wear the Daddy Brad shirt, post-game. We can't bring it out. You knew we were going to be here.
I've seen a lot. Your sales have been good.
They have been good. We'll give you your percentage. We'll give you your NIL. Don't worry.
I've signed a lot of autographs on Daddy Brad shirts, and it's a great night.
I lost money in Vegas, so I'm not sure.
Well, we'll see if we can up the sales here.
All right, I appreciate it.
But it's fun to be a part of this. It's a great event. To me, it's the most special event of non-season. Jimmy V and all ESPN's done for it, and to be a part of it. I'm elated with the win, and now it's back to the table.
Thanks, Brad.
Thank you.
What after the game? What was your big takeaway?
I mean, Daddy Brad brought it, right? That's the bottom line. Listen, he's signing T-shirts. He's out here coaching. I mean, he does everything. He fits Illinois. They are so hungry to have a team that can go deep and maybe make a Final Four run. And Brad Underwood embraces it. He's got the energy. He's got the fight that they want in Champaign. They want somebody that's going to stand up for him and fight for him. And he's done a hell of a job there. I mean, we forget what he was, right? He took over at Stephen F. Austin as the head coach and took Danny Casper's players and won with Danny Casper's players. Then he goes to Oklahoma State for a year and wins with who was before him there? Who the hell was before him? He took
Travis Ford.
Travis Ford. He took the guard, the really good guard. I forget his name.
Juwan Evans.
Juwan Evans. Thank you.
Great job.
Do you have anything else you need from me?
Yeah, I'm going to keep asking you things. And then he took Juwan Evans and left after a year because Oklahoma State wouldn't pay him. And he goes to Illinois, got paid, got crushed for leaving after a year, and has done kind of the unthinkable, right? Bruce Weber wasn't able to do it. John Gross wasn't able to do it. And what Brad Underwood has done for that program, he fits them to a T.
All I got to say is Seth Gunter, you might think that I'm a joke, but how about those facts, sir?
He gets lucky, Seth, once in a while.
You just said to a YouTube commenter, you might think I'm a joke. How about those facts?
Bobby D and
Right, Henson?
Daddy Brad.
Yeah, nah, it's
By the way, feel68.shop.
Yeah.
Or
Get yourself a Daddy Brad t-shirt.
Daddy
If you don't
Brad
have one yet. You
tees.
can- Brad Underwood will sign it for you.
He probably will. He
Yes.
probably will.
He loves it. He's a
probably
big fan.
enjoys that.
He loves
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
He loves the Daddy Brad shirt.
So we talked about Purdue on Sunday night.
Mhm.
So when you think about the top of the Big Ten, John Henson, what do you make of that situation here with what Illinois showed you with Purdue?
Purdue, yes, they're up there. What Illinois showed me tonight, I gotta place them up there. I was sure Texas was going to win tonight, and so it kind of shocked me that they lost. But they're surging. And you got teams. Maryland is
They lost
tonight, but at Wisconsin,
but
they played well. They've been playing well.
Yeah.
Wisconsin, I think I was seeing
Wisconsin's
back.
good.
They're 6-0 against
Talked about
undefeated
that.
teams.
and they're really good
Yeah.
at the Kohl Center.
Yeah,
They're
so-
really good at Madison.
Wisconsin's good. Like they got 3 or 4 guards that are really good players.
You like
Tyler
Mac
Wall,
Klesmit?
Chucky
Connor Seagian.
Chucky Hepburn.
Yeah.
Chucky
Tyler
Hepburn.
Wall's better than I thought he
Steven
was.
Kroll.
They also have the ability to, if they want to play Wall at the 5, they can play Wall at the 5. They want to play Crawl at the 5, they can go big and they can match up with people. Like
Listen, the top
they're
of the
good.
Big Ten is the whole Big Ten is fun, other than there's a few teams.
So what we said in the preseason was that the top of the Big Ten had 5 or 6 teams that could probably compete for a Big Ten title, but we didn't think that there were any national title contenders at the top of the league. We've watched Illinois tonight. We've seen the success that Maryland and Wisconsin have had. We've seen Purdue thrive. Indiana lost to Rutgers. I'm not that worried about it because everybody loses at Rutgers.
Rutgers has a net of 30.
Do you think are you still on that train where there's no national title contender in the Big Ten?
Yeah, I'm still, and I have Purdue at 1, so I know that sounds insane. But today they're 1. Today,
Hey, look, don't worry. The number 1 team in the country cannot win the national
not
title.
saying that.
According to Jeff Goodman, Dagan, tweet
they
that out.
deserve it. No, they've earned the number 1 ranking for who they've beaten. This knucklehead over here doesn't give a shit what a team does. He just thinks, well, they're going to be good in 2 months, so I'm going to put them at 1, even if they lose 8 straight
I haven't
games.
done- I haven't
Seven.
done the rankings
Seven.
every
seven
year.
I mean,
He
7.
doesn't rank the teams.
Because he had the dumbest ranking system ever.
That's not.
Listen, 8 days ago, North Carolina was the number 1 team. Hey,
Please get us on
powerhouse,
track.
8 days ago. So it can change that fast.
Yes, there you
I
go.
mean, now they're
When was the last time you did a ranking?
Like 3 years ago. I can't even. I don't
We
even remember the
basically
last
said
time.
you can't do them anymore. You're done.
Who's we?
Everybody.
Well, I had
Everybody
an
was
AP
like,
vote and they
it's
took it
over.
Well,
away. So I
this
guess-
And that's saying something
You have to have your vote taken away from the AP.
because there are some bad
Oh my
voters.
God, I got
There's
rid of mine. I bailed about 4 years ago, 3 years
the
ago.
Goodman top 25. Dagan Hughes made the graphic, or was it Trevor Valise, or was it?
No, that's Greg Wood.
Do you still have gambling in the
Greg
top
does it.
25?
They were only in for a few days.
So
They deserve it.
you know,
They got votes.
Exactly. Come on.
here's the thing.
He's
It's
an HBCU hater.
Yeah.
Hates scrambling.
Come on.
How do you do that?
Stop.
How do you do that?
Stop at 1 a.m. He's not an HBCU
You don't like
hater.
Grambling because one good win?
I know. It's a huge win. No, let me on the record,
Folks,
Rob Dauster.
Rob Dauster is not an HBCU hater, and for the YouTube chat, he voted the right way. Okay, because the way that Jeffrey Goodman just made Rob Dauster sound, you would have thought he was at the Capitol
For 24 hours.
Hey, look.
in January.
Look.
You just said that he was an HBCU hater. Like, we need to clarify something.
Talking about Deion Sanders right now, leaving
Hey,
Jackson.
no.
All right.
Hey, I just want to
No.
give a shout out to Rex Smith in the chat who said Jeff is being stubborn and wrong. Yeah, evergreen.
Stubborn and wrong. That's strong words.
I think
Evergreen
It's late too for those words.
the Final Four.
Who?
No, they can. They can.
So then,
It's so
yes.
early, I mean,
So then I think we were wrong. We should take a losing lap. I think we all thought the Big Ten was going to have a down year.
But we don't know yet in the tournament whether it's going to translate. Again, Zach Edey, love him. I think he's a National Player of the Year if the season ended today. But again, can he guard in the NCAA tournament in a matchup in which he's playing against the big that can take him away from the
That's kind of what I'm worried about too.
Right.
And I also think
fair.
I know they have freshman guards, but I think Purdue is a finished product right now. I don't know how much better.
I disagree with that.
That's crazy.
I
to say
disagree
about
with that.
Freshman
I
guards.
don't know how much better because
I disagree.
they're being asked to do a job. They're never going to be asked to go out there and be Jaden Ivey, and they can do that job already. They're not going to change what they do.
Yeah, but they're going to get
do what they
better
do.
at it.
So
they're
they
still going to get
they'll
better.
get better.
Like Zach
But
Edey,
look
you know what he said to me? Zach Edey is Braden, the freshman
Smith.
point guard, Braden Smith, doesn't yet know how to play with him because he has not played with a 7'4" guy.
That's fine, but everything is
better at that.
But
Number one
yes,
team in the
that's fine,
country.
but everything is going to run through Zach Edey, is what
Sure.
I'm saying. Whereas with let's take Illinois for example.
I get
right?
what you're saying.
They have
Braden
more room
Smith
to
is
grow.
already.
So maybe they're not at their ceiling, but when you compare like what Purdue's trajectory is with the other
Sure.
teams,
Yeah, that's fair.
History tells us that the Big Ten will be at the house with us. Yeah, pretty soon.
yeah.
History does tell us.
To be honest.
the-
They'll be watching the Sweet 16 with us.
History does.
They'll be watching the arena.
History
gonna get
does
Zach-
tell us
that's a
that.
great quote.
Hey, that's a quote, Dagan. Tweet that out.
These
History says the
ACC
Big
guys,
Ten will
man,
be at the house with us.
RC, these ACC guys, they do not hold back on the Big
I will
Ten.
say, I think
Been a while.
Yeah.
here's the only thing I would say. Last year at this time, everybody and their mother was calling the Big Ten the best conference in college basketball.
I know. And to me, again, I still think the Big 12 is going to be more powerful.
They're the best
There's
league.
more teams that you say to yourself, this Texas team, while they've got their flaws for sure,
Yeah.
you could still see them getting there, right? They've got a hell of a coach. They've got guards who can make plays off the bounce. Tyrese Hunter did not play well tonight, but he's played very well this year.
Yep.
He's proven he can make shots from three, which is his biggest weakness. He and Carr work well, together. And then, again, Dylan Mitchell's got to get better. He's got to be a factor offensively.
Yeah, he has to. And I love Dylan Mitchell. He played for my AU program. I want to see.
But he
him
left
do
your
well.
AU program, so you're a little better.
When he got good, he had to go somewhere. We were not. Hey, we did not
You're
have
a mom and pop.
we didn't have the NIL dollars.
Why didn't you
get him-
pour more money in? I've seen what you made in
Listen,
this.
listen. I poured as much as I could, but each one teach one is a whole different.
That's very true. That's Nike money.
They got the Nike money. I had
Right.
free hotels and pizza.
That's it.
No,
That doesn't get it done.
he's got to be more involved, and I think that's the guard play. He was sprinting up and down the court
Never
today.
saw the ball.
Never. I mean, they didn't
Never.
look his way, so I
Never.
don't know what's going on with that.
That's a great point. It's
Yeah.
like that team can go. And do you have that's one thing with Marcus Carr. He's still more score than facilitate.
Mhm.
Tyrese Hunter, in fact, look at his numbers. They're not great in terms of facilitating this year. They've got to be guys that advance the ball instead of dribble.
Well, and
Get
Carr
some points
Yeah.
in transition.
and Carr takes a lot of shots.
He does.
It's early.
Yeah, it is.
It's
Well-
early, and I'm going to say something. Don't kill me, everybody.
Okay, what do you got?
I think Dylan Mitchell at Texas with what they have is just a bad fit. I think he goes somewhere else. I think he looks like a completely different player.
Really?
Where you got guys that are throwing lobs to him.
Throw lobs, and it's more of a
getting him
flowy.
get him in transition.
And like
Go.
just go. Hey, look, lobs. Hey, let's run some. Come on, man. He's the most athletic player in the gym
No
every
doubt.
game.
Every game.
Why is it? I didn't see any backdoor lob screens. I didn't see any. I call it Chicago screens, NBA terms, but a screen where he comes across, where you screen across the lane, come across with the left. Like I don't see any of that motion. And it's college, and I'm not a coach, and I know how hard it is. But he is your prime prospect. So recruiting wise, people are watching him, and they're seeing what he's doing. He didn't play last 10 minutes. I'm worried about him. And so
the good thing is he's so bought into team and winning that I think he's the type of kid who can handle this.
To the point that it might be a negative for him personally.
Yeah, maybe.
Right? Might be a negative for him personally.
Yeah, he may not. He's not going to see his ceiling here. He's going to probably leave and go to the NBA.
But what are scouts going to think of that team mentality? They're going to like that in an interview process.
He'll be able to like fill a role in the NBA, right? But it's different. Like he's not going to be a $300 million.
I just hope he does.
That's not him.
I hope he works on his game. I hope it's kind of like a Bam Adebayo thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bam comes out. We don't know that Bam can do all the things he does.
We don't know
the Heat see him, and they're like, "Oh, we're picking you. Just shut it down." And then we're like, "Why is they?" And then we see. So hopefully he's working on this game.
Yeah.
And a guy that does that, he's a
but
close
how
friend
much is on the guards?
It's a lot. That? It's a lot on him because I think confidence is a real thing in college. Confidence is a real thing. When Kendall Marshall started playing, my confidence went up a little more. Yeah. So they gotta. Hey, let's coach. Let's run a play. Hey, let's do this. But if he's not assertive enough, what can you do? You can only dunk so much.
And there aren't many.
In the NBA,
there aren't many Kendall Marshalls.
Yes, in the NBA, you could dunk and you dunk less. Like it just is what it is. So he's got to figure out. He made a couple good moves down low, but he's got to get a little confidence.
I think it's on Tyrese Hunter. I actually think that was kind of the reason why Texas wasn't able to pull away tonight. Mm-hmm. If Tyrese had played his game, this game isn't even close.
Right.
It's not even close.
I also just
because Marcus Carr's not playing. Marcus Carr was shot hunting.
He was shot hunting.
They're limited offensively. Like I think that they have a ceiling to what they are on that end of the
outside of Austin, Texas.
Yeah, they don't have.
They don't have a great front court scorer either.
They don't have a.
They don't. Christian Bishop,
Dylan Disu's kind of.
To me, that's the thing. Like when I look at them on paper, the team that I think is their best five has Dylan Disu at the 5 because one, I think that 15-9 guy at Vanderbilt just 2 years ago.
Yes.
2, he's a floor spacer.
Exactly.
Don't have.
And last week, early in the
last thing is he's their best, and he's not a big time rim protector, but he's their one guy who can block a shot.
Yeah, I don't necessarily have to have that. Like if you're going to play Dylan Mitchell at the 5, you have a guy that's good enough to be able to protect to block some shots. And there's different ways you can have rim protection. They take more charges than anybody in the country. Why do you need a block shot when you can take a charge and force a turnover?
Sure. And last week against Creighton, twice in the first 4 minutes of the game, Dylan Disu caught the ball in the corner, Kalkbrenner's out on him, extremely uncomfortable. Disu finishes by him twice. So to your point on spacing, when you're a limited team offensively, John Henson, how much of an extra emphasis does that put on being able to space?
Well, nowadays it's a big emphasis because, when you are a limited offensive team, how you beat that is moving the ball, sharing the ball, moving bodies, screening away, playing a motion offense, which, when I was in college, to play in the Carolina system, that's why you may have seen certain guys that were highly ranked struggle sometimes. You had to have some sort of IQ because you had to screen away. Your body's in motion, so you had to kind of play the game the right way. So I don't see that kind of happening with Texas when things get stagnant. Everybody kind of looks around, hey, take him off the dribble. And they don't have the guys to where there's enough space because you got Dylan non-shooter. Like you got 2 non-shooters down.
Yeah, Brock Cunningham.
That's the difference between Texas and Illinois is that when it comes down to it, right, what this game was, we're going to go one-on-one.
Right.
And what Illinois had was guys like Terrence Shannon who could go make a play.
Yeah.
Matthew Meyer could go make
a
play.
Yes,
with
size.
Coleman Hawkins can create.
Like Marcus Carr got gobbled up.
Yes, he did.
When he went in there,
Yep.
right? That was the difference. He's not a big time vertical athlete.
Yep.
Where Shannon, Meyer,
those
are guys.
That's why my biggest takeaway from this game is that Illinois is good enough to be a top 10 team. Because I ask questions, right?
Yeah.
They're good enough to be there. There's gonna be games where they lose to people they're not supposed to lose to because a lot of their guys are kind of hot and cold. But when they're at their best, I think
every team's going to be that. Don't you feel like, okay, how many teams? I mean, okay, once Houston gets into the AAC,
They're
Big
going to
12.
steamroll everybody.
Big 12.
No, this year is.
Yeah, into
This year.
AAC.
I'm saying once they get in
Okay.
this year,
It's
they're
the
going
AC
to roll.
play.
They're
But
going
Yeah,
to
they're
the most.
Like
Yeah.
the way that
Yeah,
they
yeah, yeah,
play,
yeah.
They'll
They're gonna
lose
be-
to somebody.
they're gonna
They'll
yeah.
lose to somebody.
I'm not saying they're
Yeah.
going to lose. I'm saying these other teams are going to lose significant. Like
I mean,
they're going to
Yes.
they're going to lose multiple games, and we're going to be like, oh man, like tonight, Texas, man, like you got to drop them down. You know, I had them 2.
No, I'm
Everybody
not
had
No,
them 2.
drop them to
Texas-
5,
to me,
6.
like,
Right.
Texas to like the thing about this year is there are probably 12 teams that you can look at and say, yeah, you know what, they're in a normal year, they're like a top 5, top 10 kind of a team.
They could win it all.
There's nobody in college basketball this year that you look at and you say like, oh, they're the number 1 team.
Maybe Arizona. Maybe.
When they get going, but we also saw them at
Maybe
Utah.
Right. They
Maybe.
lose to Utah.
Yeah, we also saw them
I mean,
get smacked.
They
by
lost to
Utah.
Utah.
Oxygen.
Right.
You know.
That's
study
right.
hall,
That's right.
You know, there's a lot of
Yeah.
crap. You know, I mean, that it's you're right. It's going to be an interesting year.
All it is
There's
is
no
even
powerhouses.
right. Even
Yeah.
even the best teams is what I'm saying
Yeah.
are going to be beaten several times this year, and
Right.
we can't overreact
Right.
because they're all going to be in a similar boat at the
No,
end of the year.
Here's what I will say. I will say this: if they win tomorrow, yes, they're going to be number 1. Down like in 2 weeks.
Huh? Who?
The team that you're about to say.
I wasn't going to say anything. You brought.
Oh,
it up.
okay. I was just going to say, like,
Oh, look at Purdue's schedule.
oh, I was saying UConn
I know, but look at
because their schedule, because of
look
their
at
upcoming
Purdue's
schedule.
Have you looked at Purdue's schedule lately?
Let's
All right,
take a
I'll
look.
read-
Go
I
ahead.
got it. Ready?
Go ahead.
I was fast.
Hofstra tomorrow. Yeah, I'm pretty.
Yeah, they'll
quick.
win that game.
At Nebraska.
Yep.
Davidson at home. New
Yep.
Orleans. Florida A&M.
F it.
F it. F it. Yeah.
So they,
Rutgers at home.
That
They-
could be tricky.
January
They'll win
5th,
that
it will
game.
not be tricky. January 5th at Ohio State is
All right.
probably the next time
so
that they could lose.
they're on the track there to be the AP number
So I'm
1.
saying,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, they are.
like,
Yeah,
they should be.
they should be.
They should be right now.
They should be.
They've earned it. That I'm not saying again that they're going to be there at the end. They're going to be they're clearly the best team, but what they've done so far has earned them the number 1 ranking.
And it's interesting because you talked about the fact that once you get into conference play, certain teams are just going to take losses because it's conference play. This is why Gonzaga is such an interesting case because
But we've already taken them out of the equation for a top 3 team. Right?
They're
They're
not.
gone. They're
They're
gone
not.
now. They
don't
can
have-
never get back up there.
I
No,
understand what you're
they
saying.
can't.
They can't.
No, they can run. They can
No.
run the
What about
table of
top?
the WCC. Doesn't matter.
Yes.
Probably, yeah, because
Right.
they're not getting enough. St. Mary's hasn't done enough.
Of course.
BYU isn't very
Yeah,
good.
yep.
So they got no chance now. They're stuck where they're at. They're really not going to be able to move up that much. To me, Arizona's the one that's the interesting take here because, you know, the Pac-12 right now only has one other team in UCLA.
And the bottom is just
Awful.
so god
It's
awful.
really bad.
Yeah.
And Oregon isn't very good. That's the thing that's going to hurt the Pac-12
It's
right
gonna
now.
hurt
is Oregon has been decimated by injuries, and for the second straight year now hasn't been the Oregon, the Dana Altman that we know.
How many teams a month into the season? Because we talked about this on DTF. It feels like 2 days ago, but on
Was it this
Tuesday morning, we talked about it on DTF, and I made a statement early in the show, and both of you guys raised your
I know what you're
eyebrows.
gonna ask,
I
but,
said, I
yeah.
think there's a double-digit amount of teams that could win the national championship. How many teams could win the national
I mean,
championship?
I can't remember a time
13,
when
14.
there was so much fluctuation and so many losses and so many powerhouses were. I mean, they were like. I mean,
I'll give you 16.
Yeah, 16.
I'll give you about 16.
And I
gonna-
said
gonna
double.
be
I
fun.
said 10, and you were like,
Am I
"Wow."
crazy?
Where's the
I
final
mean,
four?
No,
Where's the
you're
Final
not.
Four?
Look,
Houston.
Ready? We'll roll through them
Yeah.
and tell me if you guys disagree with any of these. I'm going to rattle through them quickly.
Yeah.
Houston,
Yes.
Texas,
Yes.
Virginia,
Yes.
Purdue, UConn, Kansas, Tennessee, Alabama, Arkansas,
Tennessee.
Arizona. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
Maybe Tennessee, no.
Yeah.
Alabama,
Kansas,
no. Can't. How could you possibly
Bill
say
Self.
that with Bill Self coaching?
They're not.
You're
I
out of
don't,
your mind.
I don't think they're very good right now, but it's Bill Self.
You're out of your.
We've seen.
I'm going to tell Sean Miller you said that.
What?
Sean Miller.
No,
Sean
yeah.
Miller thinks
Sean Miller loves
he's
Bill
the
Self.
one, or he's
Oh
like-
no.
Yeah.
No,
Did you
I
see
just
Felix
don't
Fitzgerald
think-
right there?
He's like, oh my god.
No, they don't have a center.
Bill Self can figure anything.
Go ahead. No, I'm sure
That's
he
all.
can. I'm
That's
sure he
all.
can.
So anyway, we got there. We kind of got rid of Tennessee, Alabama, Arkansas, Arizona, Auburn for me.
No.
No way. Baylor, maybe.
Maybe.
Maryland.
I don't see
Maryland,
it.
I
No,
don't
not
know.
national championship.
Indiana, yes.
Yeah.
Duke,
National
yes.
championship in
Sure,
Indiana?
sure. You got to put them in the equation.
They have the
I mean,
tools.
Right.
At this point, when you look at Indiana, are they really that much worse than Houston or
The only thing
Texas
is they
or-
can't shoot. They don't shoot it well enough.
Indiana could beat any of the
So I don't know if
six,
they
man.
can go
Their
six straight.
loss came without the guy that's like one of their best
Right.
perimeter
Agreed.
shooters, right?
Well, no,
So
he's not, but he's yeah, I guess he is, and that's not a good
that's
thing.
kind of a issue.
Duke, Kentucky, Illinois, Gonzaga, probably not. UCLA, I still wouldn't.
No,
completely
I
knock
think
them
they're
out.
one. It might be more than 16.
So
Jeff.
yeah, we're probably at close to. I mean,
20.
Dauster might put I don't know who else is in. You can't. Can you put Creighton still in there?
No,
North Carolina.
Are you knocking Creighton out and saying
I'm
they're
not.
out of the
I'm
equation
not.
no, I think that they're
with Greg McDermott coaching?
I'm readjusting
Creighton
my
is just- I
expectations
mean-
to where they're. I think they're more of like a Elite Eight second weekend kind
But
of.
if you're an
team,
Elite
Final
Eight
Four
team,
kind
then
of team.
if you're an Elite Eight team, then you're
Yeah,
good enough to
but-
make the Final
But
Four.
you're asking me to tier them, right? So I think yes, anybody can make a.
We're
Final Four.
saying not.
We've
make the
seen
Final Four,
we've
we're
seen
saying win a national title.
we've seen
Saying
seen
six.
Loyola get to the Final Four. right?
Six straight.
And the shooting is such a big concern. I thought they were going to take a step forward. I thought Kaluma would take a step.
I mean,
Kaluma shooting 24% from three.
I know,
And he's
but-
supposed to be the guy that like the most improved
Yeah.
player.
Yeah, listen, I'm with you today, but again, you know how quickly this shit can change.
Yep.
It could change in a
Really.
day. Creighton beat Arkansas and lost by 2 to Arizona.
Right. They beat Arkansas, Rob. They beat
They
Arkansas.
beat Arkansas.
Arkansas's in a dogfight.
Without Nick Smith. But
Creighton's
look,
got a
look,
better
look,
win
Here's the thing. Yes.
than UConn.
I think that they can beat those teams.
Yeah, you
The
just don't think
problem
they
is
can-
at some point they're going to have a night where somebody packs it in and they go 10 for 40 and they'll lose to the likes of Nebraska. That's
well, they
that's
shouldn't
my
take
concern.
43s. They got to change
Yeah,
the way they do
that
things.
is my
they
concern.
don't have the personnel
Yeah.
anymore
Yeah.
to
to
play
take
that
threes.
way.
Yeah.
Right.
Got to be some adjustments.
Yep.
Seton Hall.
No.
No. Where'd you get that from?
This,
thing,
hey, group
next
chat.
thing you know, he's gonna go St.
Group chat,
John's. He's gonna
Seton
go
Hall,
St.
man.
John's over here.
St. John's plays today.
Oh yeah, they do. I was invited to the game. It's the David Jones revenge tour.
DePaul
Yes,
is in town.
big game.
Big East opener.
Mike
What-
Craig, I know you got to see it for me. I will not be there.
St. John's or DePaul will be in first place in the Big East by the end of the day.
Is that true? They're the first game.
It's the first game.
Oh,
And
this
there
is
isn't
huge.
another league
Are
game
you
in
gonna
10
tweet
days.
that out? Will you tweet that out?
I'll
after
say
the game?
whoever's in first. Yeah.
Like huge. Like
Yeah.
blow it up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Huge.
Absolutely. Maybe
Big
post
deal.
game
For the
Zoom.
next time since that's what you need to tweet out.
That
First
DePaul's
time,
in first. I can tell you the
DePaul's
last
in-
time they were in first. Yeah, I
is
can
it
tell
like
you.
Joey Meyer days? Might
Stop.
have been Ray
No, it's
Meyer.
like
Might not
no,
have been Joey. Might have
Plato.
been Ray
It was
Meyer.
Plato.
That was kind of
Plato, Dave.
Dave had him in first
Yeah,
place.
yeah.
Wow, good for Dave.
So a night in Manhattan. How would you recap? We started with an
How was
Italian dinner.
Yeah, how was
Yeah.
the dinner?
I give it like
You
a
didn't
C+.
love it. Oh, that's fan. That
Oh,
you're
it's fine.
Vanna picked it.
We went to the
What was the name of the spot? What's the name of the spot?
The bowler.
I had
Should've gone with the
cacio e
pizza.
pepe.
I should've gone with
I
the
was
was
pizza.
actually gonna get a
good.
slice of pizza.
Right after this,
I'm just gonna go look for the 99
one
cent
of those?
99-cent pizza.
you're not like one of those guys like who has to eat like high
Nah,
class.
man. I listen.
You'll eat anything?
I listen. I go to Chili's.
You do. You're a big Chili's
Around
guy.
my house, I go to Chili's. man.
Tampa.
Bars
Chili's.
clear. I can watch this 4 TV.
Oh, is that the one downtown? And
No, it's not
St. Pete?
downtown. No, this is in the suburbs.
what's hey that area
Spiked-
right near?
Spiked strawberry lemonade, and we just.
What's the area near the arena
Oh,
with
that's.
all those restaurants there?
um,
That's a good spot.
You talking about?
I like
talking
that.
about Tampa,
Great
St.
show here.
In right near the arena in where it must be St. Pete.
It's gotta be.
St.
It's,
Pete,
no, it's
right on the
downtown.
water there.
It's
David said they're
downtown. It's
like,
downtown.
Can I just cut this shit,
Amway
please?
Arena.
Can we get
No,
rid
I'm
of
talking
this?
St. Pete.
Oh yeah, no, I don't go over those
don't go
parts.
to
man.
St.
Yeah,
Pete?
Nah, man.
What do
Tampa's,
you mean?
Tampa's where it's at.
Really?
Yeah.
All
I don't
right,
do St.
all
Pete.
right.
You gotta
I like
drive 40.
St. Pete.
We gotta drive 45 minutes to see the Rays play in St. Pete. It doesn't even make sense. Tampa Rays. You gotta go to St. Pete.
That's
So where are you heading now? Where are you heading? You're heading to the home of.
yeah. Hey, Rick Pitino, I'm staying in New Rochelle tonight. Rick, can you unlock the door? Maybe leave me some breakfast in the morning when I wake up. Cause yeah,
Rick's got a guest house, man, for sure. Just pull around back.
Rick hasn't talked to me in 5 years.
5
so-
years? Are you hurt by that?
No, I just want to know why, Rick. Like, I don't care. I really don't give a shit. I just want to know why. That's all.
He doesn't give a shit yet. This is the 37th time I've
It's true.
heard
I
this.
do want to know. Like,
Do you think if you covered him in the tournament, right?
Yeah.
Do you think in the hallway, like
Maybe
you would think about saying
maybe we
hello?
can kind of
I
corner him.
thought about today. What's that?
Maybe we could just corner him. Say, hey, Rick, you gotta squash this.
Right,
This is
what's
bad.
going
This is
on?
bad. We call that bad. Bad. We need better
Juju.
Back car.
Yeah, Juju.
Rick, good vibes on.
That's right. That's right.
Right.
Vibes on.
And I think he would talk to you.
I was gonna show up today, like they were playing St. Louis. I was
Yeah.
gonna show up for shoot around.
Oh my
I
God.
got the train from.
All right. Brian Bearer or whatever his name is at Iona. Yeah, yeah,
text them,
yeah.
Come on, man. Like,
Yeah.
just
He would have I think that the Goodman Pitino thing's got to get squashed. Because
There's a
why
lot-
would he be
there's a lot.
against you?
I think I would surmise that it was because I was on ESPN when all the stuff broke with Katina Powell. I can't remember. how to
The
spell her name.
resident Storm Hall
but-
person,
yeah,
the RA never knew.
I
The
don't think
parents.
he was happy when I've said over and over that whether or not he knew what was going on, he should have known.
The idea that he should have known what his players were doing in their dorms, like
Listen,
I don't know. man.
I think it's a.
Henson, what do you got
I
there?
think it's a two-prong.
Were you doing this in Carolina?
I wouldn't say I was doing this. I don't know. Hey, don't know what's going on over there. I'm a decade removed. But I think college coaches sometimes are a need to know. I'm on a need to know basis. Because if I do know, I can be promoting the atmosphere of uncompliance. So look, unless
But
it needs to
Rick-
come to
Rick
my
wasn't
desk,
Roy.
don't tell me.
Here's what I'll say: is
Are they
Rick wasn't Roy in a sense that Rick was very controlling of the program. Roy, I don't think. Listen, I don't think Roy knew what you guys were doing. I think he
Roy-
left it up to the assistants.
You know, Roy gave us like we talked about last episode. He gave us a little bit of freedom, which helped me professionally. I know for a fact, Rick had them boys
Right?
room check.
Yeah.
This is my favorite
You know
show.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Did Rick know?
I know for a fact.
Did Rick know?
Rick, no.
Did Rick?
Waking up at 2 a.m.
Hashtag.
Did Rick know? Well, I'm going to ask him, Rick. I'm going to ask you in the morning over breakfast.
I like how you're
What's-
talking to the camera like Rick
what's
Pitino's
the-
up at 1:35 a.m.
He's
watching
watching.
the show.
He's watching.
tape right now. In
You
St.
never
Louis.
know.
Hey, speaking of which, we do have to give Rick Pitino credit because they just blasted
Yeah, they did.
St. Louis tonight. They blasted
22.
from start to finish. A really talented St. Louis team that probably is going to end up winning the damn A10. And Iona kicked the living crap out of them. Rick Pitino, I will say this: Rick Pitino and Bill Self, to me, the two best coaches in college basketball.
100%. I would venture to agree with you. I think Rick Pitino is
Elite.
a great
Yeah.
coach. I mean, Iona. I mean,
Look what he's done.
look what he's. I mean, it has.
They should have beat Alabama
Right.
in 2021.
Yeah.
They should
They
have.
should have beat Alabama
Yeah.
in 2021.
Now I want to see how Kansas ages in March. Wasn't
Yeah,
denying
They're
self.
like here's the
I
thing.
wasn't
They're
denying
not
self. It
very
was
good right now.
Right,
They're not
right.
national title good right now. But at the end of the day, they have a man on the sideline.
Of
named
course
Bill
they do.
Self. Free Bill Self.
Free Bill Self. And
Bill
we have
Self.
another shirt.
Yes. There
A
you go.
Kansas
Feel the
shirt.
68 shop. Hey, in about 6 hours, you can read Mike Miller and Feel the 68 Daily. It'll be in your inbox. We're back
By
at
the
it.
time we're done, it might be in there in 10 minutes.
By the time, yeah, exactly. Henson's grabbing pizza. I don't know if he's going to
I'm getting
sleep.
a slice of pizza.
You're
I gotta work in the morning.
You're
Not
heading to
to that.
Pitino's basement.
That's right. That's right.
You're heading home.
Hopefully at some point.
Dagan's telling me I got to shut up.
Well, if
We gotta-
Goodman will
we gotta-
ever stop
we gotta-
talking, then yes, I'm going to go home.
We say so long.
We didn't toast somebody.
We don't
New
have
Hampshire. New Hampshire.
Let's toast Iona.
toast
That's a whole.
New Hampshire beat Boston
High
College.
point. Toast it- toast it
Jaden
to-
House. beat
Toast to
Furman.
Terrence Shannon.
Sure, he.
Terrence Shannon getting
I
it
got a
done.
few. I got a few. Willie Clayton, Iona, Jaden House at High Point.
Yep.
Clarence Daniels, who I saw at UNH, he had 34 and 14 today.
When you
against
told me to bet
BC.
the under.
No, I never said that.
Yeah, you said
Oh,
bet the
that
under
game.
New Hampshire Fairfield.
Yeah, I
And the
did.
game went over
They-
by like 40
They made
points.
every shot. Those two teams will never do that again.
Hey.
All right, Fanix, close the show
Over-
already.
Over under college is tricky.
The host has lost control of the show. The host has
There
lost
was
control.
control of the fucking show. Good night, everybody. Sleep well. This building is the
Yeah,
best. Thanks to
really
Madison
is.
Square Garden for
Thanks
having
for hanging with us.
Henson, Jeff, Rob. I'm Fanta. See you
Bye.
later.